says it's in progress.
And green. Oh, there, I see David.
That's me.
Was somebody thinking we should do a selfie?
Yeah.
So you, Cody, Eric.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, everybody's worked on it.
Why is this the last one? Have we got canceled already?
No. But we're finishing phase one,
We are
right?
streaming, right?
Yes.
So I need to be careful when I say yes.
Are you ever careful with this?
When it matters. Hi! All right, well, you caught us on a casual Thursday here. Normally we do this at the last Thursday of the month. Unfortunately, I'm on vacation, so we jumped it up one. You can hear the fan running in the background today. Voila. And that is because something that we have learned about being in our new building space is that things don't dry well in here. Matter of fact, this building is incredibly humid, whereas the old Kalmbach building where we came from, basically I don't think there was ever any moisture in that building ever to begin with anyway, because you would put something down and it would dry before you could use it. Here, we've been having difficulty. Well, you can take a look at my river scene. My wave effects material still isn't completely dry, and I put this down on Tuesday. So here it is Thursday, 48 hours later. It's just finally getting there, but we'll do a little bit of a tour of the railroad in a bit here once we get up and running for real. We've got a lot of cool new stuff to show you because we're in the scenery phase. This is the part where things change the fastest, simply because of the fact that all of a sudden you go from, well, bare plywood to all sorts of other stuff like trees and grass and cows and chickens and you name it. So anyway, you've joined us for Midday Modeler. We're glad to have you here. Cody and Eric are also around in the building in someplace working on various projects, so they'll show up too. Jenny is your camera person today, so say hi to Jenny. And then Sean is working with me, as we have been doing for these over the last several months, while we film episodes of East Troy and, I almost said East Troy and Sand Creek. No, that's the Olympia series. East Troy Industrial Park. Too many project railroads, too little time, right? So, but please leave your questions and comments. KJ is writing along, as always, over on the computer monitor, and he will periodically interrupt what we're doing.
Your wife says hello.
Oh, hi, honey. Nice to see you, dear. Thanks for tuning in. So, there we go. So anyway, yeah. Cody, you want to come over here and talk for a minute? Let's talk about some of the projects we've been doing on the East Troy, because in the last 3 weeks, it has made huge changes.
Absolutely, yeah. We finished up the ballasting yesterday, in fact, with the bridge here. Your river project, too.
Yeah, well, and that turned out to be 2 resin pours. The thing about that is normally you want to make sure that the riverbed is level when you pour the resin, and I did. It was level here and it was level there. The problem is, what we discovered is it crowns up in the middle. And so the resin ran to the sides. We had to pour more resin in a whole nother episode in order to get it to fill up all the way. But it looks good now.
Yeah, and I really like the kayakers, too. That's a
Yeah,
stuff.
those are not products. I found those just surfing around online and got them from Train World.
Okay.
So, yeah, Train World shipped them to me. But they're nice, they're fully painted, and they are what are called waterline models because of the fact that they have flat bottoms to them, so that we can just mount them straight on top of the resin, and then we don't have to try to gauge how high the resin's going to be, make sure they don't roll over in the resin while the resin's curing, all those little fun things that when you try to plant a boat into live resin. So.
Right, and speaking of working with resin, David, another tip I should share here, one that you did. One thing with resin, it tends to want to creep up.
Yes, it does.
And this is really cool that you went in after the fact and added these little static grass tufts. So it's really nice because instead of the resin wicking into those tufts, they actually look, like you would find right on the edge of a riverbank.
Well, we found that in the shallower parts of the McWanago River, which is what we're modeling here, this time of year, there's grass growing right up out of the river bottom. And so we just use some of those pico grass tufts in order to simulate that. Now, in some places here, notice that I left the resin creep right up the side of the bank. That was good because This river is very, very muddy along the banks.
Yeah.
It's a rather shallow river. It's prone to flooding. We've had a lot of problems with flooding lately. But I have noticed that in walking along the banks that these are always full of water, moisture. So.
Yep.
But no, it's coming along. And you've been working on the ballast fast and furious now. The bridges are all finally in. You finished out the ballast in this section yesterday.
Yep.
And then today you were doing some airbrushing work.
That's right, David. I went into some Vallejo model air paints, and I did the grimy, kind of a grayish color, like a grimy black gray down the middle, and then I used some dirt or earth along the edges here just to tie that ballast into the adjacent scenery. And I think it really does a nice job of feathering everything in. And applying with an airbrush, the nice thing is that the static grass fibers stay up. So it gives them yet another color to our palette of static grass fibers.
Yeah, exactly. And the other thing, too, is that with ballast, a lot of times you do a nice ballasting job on the layout, and then it's really obvious that, oh, nice ballast, scenery, and there's a dividing line that actually shouldn't necessarily be there.
Correct.
So this works out well to blend your ground color right into your ballast, a little weathering in the middle of it, and suddenly it looks a lot more like a railroad and a lot less like a toy train layout.
Right, and the other thing we have to consider too with the magazine is that, especially with these lighter ballast colors, is that sometimes those will tend to blow out in photos.
Yeah.
So weathering is actually a really important step for us, so that when we take the pictures, the ballast actually has some definition and texture to it instead of washing out.
Talk a little bit about your depot, because you did a lot of work on this thing. I'm really impressed with how the whole thing turned out.
Well, thanks, David. Yeah, this is from Sue Parts, Mike Paulsgrove's company, or Mike being our former DCC corner columnist. And this is a 3D printed kit that he offers of the McGuanago Depot.
Yeah, actually pick it up and show the underside.
Yeah.
And if we're careful, none of the details on the platform are glued down yet. But
So you can see that the building also has an interior, so if you're inclined to want to go to that level, you can go in. It's got the doors, all the board details.
it's even got the ticket window, which
Right.
is cool.
Yeah, all that detail. So if you want to go to that level, the options are there for you. But we had a lot of fun with this project, David, because Mike supplies the McGuanago station signs on the end of the structure, but we wanted to use this as an East Troy Electric Railroad station stop.
Yeah.
So you went down and photographed signs on the East Troy, the prototype, and we've grafted those onto the building now. So we have the railroad's herald on both ends of the building.
Yep.
And then,
And then the train schedule is
train
on the
schedule
side.
there, and then this little sign here is actually National Register of Historic Places.
Yeah, which I stole off of their museum building, which used
Right.
to be a power substation for the Milwaukee Electric. But yeah, our McGuanago Depot. Now the McGuanago Depot is gone. The Sioux Line Depot was torn down in the 70s, I believe. Mike actually has the signboards from it hanging in. Well, he used to be in his basement. Now he lives in Florida, so they hang out in his garage. But Mike found the plans for the depot and created the Sioux kit the kit for his Sioux Parts company. There we go. And Bryson came up with the idea that, hey, what if the depot was saved? And because it really was only just a couple of blocks over there on the
Right.
Sioux Line track versus on the East Troy track here, because we've modeled right where the two would have crossed. But Bryson had come up with the idea of, hey, what if the depot was saved and they moved it to this location, and then the East Troy Railroad took it over and turned it into another piece of their museum. So
Yeah.
which is neat, and so that's exactly what we did. You painted it. I like the retro colors.
Yeah, so
Nice.
this is the Sioux Line colors. I actually found a picture in one of the Sioux Line books in our library collection that showed a board and batten station. I don't remember where it was. It was somewhere else in Wisconsin. But that was a bit of a chore because trying to sight those down on a board and batten siding, it plays tricks with your eyes because you're seeing all the ups and downs, and you're not sure if that paint or the tape is level
Yeah,
or
exactly.
not. And I was going through carefully measuring it to make sure it was the same distance as I was going along. But thankfully, the separation line turned out quite well, I think.
Oh, I think so too. It looks great.
One other neat feature, David, speaking, going back to our signs here.
Oh yeah, that was a fun little
I'm going to
detail.
grab the printout here if we have
Is it? It should be just in the stack of
Yeah.
stuff over there. So outside the museum in East Troy, they've got this marker that was made with actual rail and ties, and then it's got this big plaque that's bolted onto it that explains about the East Troy Railroad and where it came from and how it got its starting and everything else. Is it not there?
I'm looking here. I'm sure it's in here. There we go.
Bingo. Yeah, so anyway, I photographed the sign pretty much dead on, put it in Photoshop, cleaned it up a little bit, and then printed it out about scale size. And then Cody and I put this little scene together. And it's a nice little touch. I like it. And it very much East Troy Railroad.
Yeah, and it's just neat because you have this little piece of track here, and that in and of itself is going to get people's attention.
Oh, yeah. It already has. I've
Yeah.
had people come in here and they go, even Kevin Keefe, former editor of Trains Magazine from years ago, came in and he observed that. Went, oh my gosh, that's really cool.
Yeah.
So,
And that's the nice thing. You can go to museums like this, bring your camera, because a lot of these things can come in handy, even if you're not modeling that specific location. But, I mean, like here you can see part of that East Troy Electric Railroad sign. You've got pictures of those that you scaled down and we've put to good use. There's other signs, too, we can talk about over by the grade crossing there. But it's been a lot of fun.
yeah.
And
Cell phones. Cell phones changed the whole game because you
Yes.
always have a camera on you as long as you got your phone in your pocket.
And the film is cheap.
And the film is very cheap.
And the farm scene, too, that's really changed a lot
Yeah.
since we last got
So
together.
this was going to be a nondescript little corner that then we decided, well, what if we put like an old rundown barn in there and we'll just have it like all boarded up and abandoned and then just put weeds and stuff in here. And then we went, well, what if we made it into, gave it a little house and then it became a farmette and now it's got chickens and a goose and horses and people and a truck being restored in the inside of the barn. We put all sorts of little details in here too, Jenny. I'll take the roof off still. We only put details inside the barn where you could see them. There's no point in putting stuff in the back because without the barn being lit, you wouldn't have any idea they were there, and the truck is in the way anyway. But we had a great time doing this little detailed scene here. You and I both worked on this pretty heavily. But yeah, it's quite nice. And then this obviously connects to the other section of the railroad. We have that all pulled apart right now so that we can do exactly what you see Cody and I doing today, which is stand behind it while we're filming and show how to do stuff. But tomorrow is the date that we are scheduled to put the backdrop back on and then marry the two sections of the layout up and declare victory, woo, on the first section of our East Troy Industrial Park Railroad.
Yeah, this is fun, too. Another thing I should point out, too, the Woodland Scenics fence. If you have not worked with that, that's a really easy way to add a nice little scene like this. We paired up the board fence with a little bit of the barbed wire in the back of the scene here. Really easy to work with. It was nice. We had to kind of adjust this a little bit to make the gate line up with our road, but you can real easily kit bash this.
It glues together nicely with
Yes.
just bonding too. You don't even need to use CA or anything on it. It's a good product.
Correct, and it has mounting pins on it as well. So in our case here, since we were working on a styrofoam base, it was real easy just to either drill or use a pin to make some holes.
But even in the place where we've got, like, this is all plywood along the front here, and we want to still put a cow pasture in this location, and so we've got to put some of that in here yet, too. So.
Correct, and that's a nice thing. I think it's the number 62-bit, if I remember right, is all you need just to go, drill them in. And
Well, since we got Jenny here, we might as well show off the last piece of it, right?
yeah, by all means. Yeah, this was yesterday.
Follow Cody.
Yesterday's big push was Central Ink, which you worked on.
Which is amazing. I had put down the Sculptamold last week. You came in for me earlier in the week and just painted it and started the ballast work on the track while I was working on putting the building together. And boom, yesterday all of a sudden it all fell into place. The building was done. We did all the scenery, and the scenery's even dry over here too, which is really nice.
Yes.
But that came together really well. I'm very, very pleased with it.
One thing we especially like too, David, is with the super trees, how they tie in with the backdrop from Scenic King.
Yeah, that was part of the reason why we used the super trees for this layout, is because Cody and I spent a couple days cutting out all these little trees lines from Scenic King backdrop pieces and then gluing them onto the layout. That you can see that they're protected all the way around the corner because we've been doing airbrushing and other stuff in here. But this will be the next section that gets done. Eric's got his glass plant, glass bottle plant that he's working on here. And we have Wisconsin oven that goes in the corner yet too, so that's another scene. Plus we're going to put a little residential area right in the foreground here down low.
Yeah, and another thing too, we were talking about signs. This one here I thought was really neat.
Oh yeah, that was fun.
That's one on the East Troy. I think that was in the pile over there too.
Yeah, that's another sign straight off the East Troy Railroad because of the fact that it's a lightly traveled trolley museum line. In a lot of places they don't even have signals. They just have signs, crossbox, and then look with arrows both directions.
And one thing with Central Ink that's kind of cool, you see this tank car here, you might be wondering, well, there's a roll-up door. Why is that? And David, you were telling me they actually run the hose out the door to the tank car.
Yep, that's exactly what they do.
So again, this is a really nice little rail-served industry. You can put one or two cars here. I like how it's all kind of neatly framed in here by the road, and it's nice that this is at an angle too. We're using the beyond the layout to our advantage here.
Yeah, I'm sorry that we don't have more building off in the back here, but that's okay.
Yeah, and again, the rooftop details too. I know the air conditioning. Did all these details, David?
All those little parts. Actually, this is a nub off the sprue.
Okay.
I just painted it dark and glued it to the roof, which was fine. But yeah, the air conditioning unit comes with 2 of those, a couple of these roof vents and whatnot. And this is another wonderful modular kit that you can turn into just about anything you want to from Walthers.
And I'm really glad to see this precast concrete wall type material back on the market again.
Yeah, we have a lot of those types of structures around by us here. So, and then of course there's the little equipment shed for the grade crossing too. That has an interesting little story to it.
Yes.
That is a cast resin piece that Mike Paulsgrove sent to us from Sioux Parts. Cody did all the great detailing on it. He used some of my signs to do the sides and everything else. We had glued it down to the layout, and then somebody who will remain nameless shop vacked it right up and destroyed it. So that is the second one to go in that location.
Yeah, and again, this is another neat little project though, because it came already, assembled. All we had to do is paint it up, and then by taking some 60,000 styrene angle, we propped it up off the ground like you would see on prototypes. And there should be some pictures of
Yeah,
those.
somewhere we've got pictures of that too. Here you go. Yeah. It came just as the box itself, and Cody found these photos of what they do with them. They just have these little corner angle feet that they put on it to prop it up off the ground, so water and rodents and everything else don't get into it. And so Cody just made those out of styrene, and we glued them right inside it, and away it goes.
Yeah, and your sign sure came in handy too, because we put the no trespassing sign there, the railroad herald on the other side, on the road facing side. Yeah. So just little elements like that really draw people into the scene and just add another touch of realism to the layout.
Yeah, well, as you can see, we have a lot more railroad to go, but we're planning on working on the East Troy project now for the next several years, which is great because there are all sorts of really cool heavy industries that are going to go in this other section of the layout yet, and we're going to take our time with those and build them one at a time and create series of videos and articles to go with it in the magazine. I hear something running in the shop, Cody.
You sure do, yeah. It's the,
Oh, we got a question before we take a break.
Actually, a bunch of guys are just contributing in and saying hi. Jason from Chattanooga says hello.
Hello, Jason.
Chris has a bunch of questions for you. Is the East Troy going to be a modern era layout?
Yes, East Troy is essentially a modern era layout. We have modern cars and stuff that are going to go with it, but the beauty part is that it is the MR&T modern era running on track that's owned by the East Troy Railroad Museum, and so we can also run heritage equipment too.
You also asked about what museum equipment will be there. So,
well, unfortunately, most everything that the East Troy has is interurbans and streetcars, and there are very few models of those available that are not resin do-it-yourself kits. So, at the moment, there's nothing. When Cody was for shooting photographs, it'll be to be determined, right? Cody, when shooting photographs for the magazine, we discussed at least putting an MR&T like caboose train parked in front of there or something like that. So our own heritage fleet at the moment. But eventually we hope to have some stuff. I know Ben Lake has been working on some prototype Milwaukee electric cars that he's been trying to 3D print. So we'll see how that goes.
Maybe Sean, that's your project. You were out there shooting stuff, weren't you?
Yeah.
All right. Well, those are the first two that came up specific to the layout, and
awesome.
we'll get you on the way back. How about that?
Cool. I'm going to go get my bottle of water, which I forgot in my office. Cody, why don't you show them what's percolating in the shop?
Yeah, so we recently received some EMD GP40s in HO scale from Rapido Trains. Jenny and I shot a product review video with the Western Pacific version we received. Was that last week, Jenny, or a couple weeks ago?
I think it was last week.
But we also received this really cool pair here. This is a Missouri, Kansas, Texas GP40 mother and slug set here. Now, Rapido does offer the GP40, just the regular unit in standard MKT, or you can get it in the mother slug set here, the 226 and the 501 shown here. A lot of neat features on this locomotive here. You can see it's got that strobe light on the top of the cab.
That strobe light is really cool.
Yeah, there's other cool effects you can do too. It's got, our model has the flash lights on it, so turning function 11 and the middle remains, you can see some.
Oh yeah, right down. Those are cool.
And the function 12, if you want to dim the headlights, we can do that.
I just love these things.
So there's lots of really fun sound effects, and the cool thing is both the mother and the slug unit are powered. So if you want to use it for switching a yard, say, you got a lot of power working for you there. You can walk through some of the other sounds too, so you can hear them with the bell. One more copy, there we go. And the bell is right above the truck there. Then we have the air horn. Coupler crash. I'll hit function 5. You'll hear that when it's in motion, but that's the flange squeal. Has some other sound and light effects depending on what the model is equipped with. What else can we do here? We've got function 18. That controls the track, walkway, and control stand lights. So that little light on the base of the nose there, that should turn on when I hit function 18. A couple little white lights there. And function 19, that controls the number boxes. So you can see them going dark, and then I'll turn them back on again. So I tell you what, we're in a little bit of a time warp here with our MKT power versus the equipment that's on our Winston-Salem southbound. Let's go ahead and pick up our train here and see these units in action. A little bit of flange squeal. If you don't care for that, you just hit function 5 and that turns it off. Sorry, hit the wrong button there. The cool thing about the slug too, you can see that the number board above the K and MKT is illuminated as well. Muffles are a little out of alignment here, but we'll try to train on. Alright. Now Rapido offers the GP40 in both mother slug sets and a few road names, as well as just the GP40 itself. Non-sound units are priced at $239.95, and sound equipped models are priced at $349.95. And the Locomotive and slug sets are $449.95 without sound and $669.95 with sound. In addition to MKT, Rapido offers a GP40 decorated for Canadian National in 3 different paint schemes: Illinois Central, Richmond, Fredericksburg, and Potomac, St. Louis Southwestern, Union Pacific, Western Pacific, and Wisconsin Central. And the Union Pacific road name is also offered in the GP40 and slug set as well. I'll set these down here so Jenny can see the different paint schemes here and road number offerings. Flip it around and see the rest of the paint schemes. I know these Wisconsin Central GP40s are pretty common in the Waukesha area before the Canadian National took over the line. One other nice feature with the sound-equipped versions is they have the Mo Power capacitor system, so the Locomotive will run over brief stretches of dirty track, or if you have power interruptions too, so that's another nice feature that we're seeing on today's models. So that's some of the latest from Rapido, so why don't we head back into the layout room and see what David and the crew are up to. Thanks for stopping by.
Eric, are you ready?
Sure, I can talk. So I'm just sitting here bending some more brass. I think last time we might have talked about this thing here, which is an etched metal tool, but I'm also using it as a way of making these little brackets that will hold up my muffler pieces. So earlier I glued a couple on here, and I put them in the wrong spot, didn't I? So I can't demonstrate what I was going to demonstrate. So those got to come off. And we'll have to try that again later. But in addition to this, I have from the National Train Show, this group, R&J Details. He was, R&J Details, he was at the NMRA convention back in July at Novi, Michigan, and he was one of the small retailers, and he was selling these 3D resin printed detail parts. And I needed some substation sheds for my project here, and I could build them myself, or I could spend $8 and let's see, do they come off? How do they get these punched on here? There we go. So we have this little substation shed which will sit out in front of my lineup of generators. And one of the other things I learned about at the train show, out on the West Coast, where people are always innovating, some of the guys from the 2027 National Model Railroad Association convention were there, and they're talking about a precision board. So in some parts of the country, it's hard to get different materials. This is a urethane foam board, but it's very hard, it's fairly stiff, it comes in multiple thicknesses, and they tell me it's about $50 for a 4x8 sheet. So if you go to precisionboard.com, you can find out some more about it, and maybe where you can buy some for your own layout. In addition to this, they're using these aluminum shelf bracket pieces as their benchwork. So I guess if you're in a spot where wood products aren't the best choice, this might be something to look into. We hope to get a story about this at some point in the future. So that's some more updates from the NMRA convention, and one of the reasons why you should go and check it out. You never know what you might find out about.
All right, thanks, Eric.
Thanks.
Let's start in this area here. Okay.
Oh, do you have anything else?
Yeah, I'm gonna grab a little information on it.
Okay. We'll stop in here for a minute.
Right, I got that. There's your frame. Yep, that's good. Okay. I'm sorry, show me the frame one more time, please. Yep. Yeah, that's good. Okay. Rolling. We're going to assume that our railroad museum, pretty much its property ends at the end of the track here. So I've got this kind of as a different color over here than I do the rest of this, with the idea that this is going to be more wild, wild scenery, trees, undergrowth, things like that. I also need this to block the view from where our river will run into the river on the backdrop, just to create a bit of an illusion that, yes, this does continue on through, but to completely remove at least a direct view of the separation line between the two. Let's still stick to it. Well, hi, you're back. Sean and I are just getting into filming our afternoon session of putting trees and undergrowth and things like that in. You'll be able to watch a little bit of that in a bit. Now, KJ, you said you had some more questions?
Sure, if you want to take those now.
Yeah, let's take a couple now before I start swinging glue around here. Once I get into that, I can't really stop.
Well, Chris had lots of questions. He was asking about the Sand Creek.
Okay, Sand Creek.
Yeah, how's that coming along?
The Sand Creek was making great progress up until the last couple of months when we really had to kick into high gear to get this project railroad done for the magazine, which is fine because as Jenny, who's holding the camera, will tell you, I still have at least a couple of episodes in the bank already that have been shot that have not been edited or posted yet, and so therefore you have plenty of Sand Creek coming your way still until at least the end of October into early November. but I hope to be back to it actually next month already. Finishing out the water project, and then we've got a depot scene to create and do, as well as I've got a whole nother bridge to scratch build yet to finish that scene out. But it's coming along nicely. I'm really, really pleased with it.
I apologize. That was actually Greg that asked that question.
Oh, that was Greg. All
But
right, well,
Chris did ask a question about your in-scale layout, which no longer exists.
Which one?
The T-Track. Well, of course, that one's still, that's still around.
T-Track is
but,
just in storage right now. The T-Track layout is still here. I built that actually for my N-scale book as a project for that, and then we grafted on some extra pieces to it. Bryson built a whole set of modules too, and then we ran that in MR last year. But my old N-scale layout, my New Haven layout, that's long gone. That's been gone since, I want to say, 2012, maybe 2013, somewhere right around there. So I sold it off. Haven't seen it since, actually. But it was a fun layout, but it was done. And my hobby is building layouts. And so that's what I do. Finish one and then start a new project.
And then Artie, of course, says hello. Hi, Artie.
Oh,
Glad to see you
Artie.
back.
Thanks
Michael
for
says
joining us.
hello, and a couple other folks were saying hello. Charles had a funny comment about our hair, length of our hair.
Yes. Now, in my self-defense here, yes, most of us have become follically challenged.
and visually impaired.
And visually impaired too. Yes, we all wear glasses or contacts. Jenny is the only one of us who I think still has a full head of hair anymore. So. But thank you for noticing that.
All right, that's it so far. Keep them coming, guys. Thanks.
Yeah, thank you. All right, Sean.
All right.
Let me open up some packages of material here, and then we'll go. Just have to get a bunch of stuff prepped. You can get some glue poured. KJ wasn't busy doing other stuff. I pulled him into this. So essentially what we're doing, guys, is you can see we got some of our tree line installed over here. It's one thing to just go ahead and stick trees into the layout, but there's actually all this other stuff in wild places in particular, unless it's a lawn or a golf course or something like that. You get all this undergrowth that occurs, weeds and smaller bushes and new trees and all that other stuff too. So for the wilder places on the layout, which involve all of this space here by our river and the bridges by the CN, as well as along the backdrop, I'm going to work on installing some super trees that I built. What did we do that last week, Sean? Mm-hmm. Super trees was last week, so we'll install some super trees, which I already have some on the layout. And boy, oh boy, we spent 3 days building super trees. We made a whole bunch of super trees, and they're gone like that. Layout eats trees really quickly, but we've got enough to finish things out. We're also going to use some of this stuff, which is Woodland Scenic's Fine Leaf Foliage, which is essentially kind of like your super tree material, just it comes in smaller sizes. And it's perfect for doing undergrowth. But it's natural material. Jenny, you got a glare on that, or can you see it?
I can see it.
It's natural material, just like the super trees are, with painted and then with ground foam glued to it. And we're going to use little clumps of this to just make the scruffy undergrowth stuff. And we're using some foliage netting and all that other fun stuff too. So. The problem is I just bought all this, and so I got to cut it all open. That is the medium green. Here's the light green. The other thing I'm doing too is most of this stuff I'm using the same colors of ground foam on the trees, on the undergrowth, and things like that. And I'm just using 2 different colors. I'm using the light green and the medium green from Woodland Scenics. It all blends together nicely by the time you're done, so that's why I do that. Now obviously it's because I'm modeling the Midwest as well, but if you have other areas of the country, you're going to have different colored foliage. And somewhere I lost my water bottle again, sorry guys. All right, brown foam all over me now too. And then we've been using static grass tufts and things like that as well. So All right, so I got my foliage stuff done. I can clear these boxes out of the way for the time being. Clusters. Good old Elmer's white glue. Friend of model railroaders everywhere. This, Cody and I were talking about this yesterday. This gallon jug of Elmer's white glue has done projects on the old MR&T. I think it did almost all the scenery on the State Line route layout. It got used for Fremont. It's being used here. We used it for some of the T-track stuff. Gallon jug goes a long way, which is good. We go through a lot of it. All right, so white glue. We're going to add just a little bit of water to it. First of all, that's just to create a bit of a layer on it to keep it from drying out on me too quickly, because this stuff will dry. It's amazing how quickly white glue actually dries. But I'm also going to mix it up and thin it just a little bit too, so that it soaks into our scenery materials well. And we apply it. This is just a little 1/2-inch paintbrush. This is my scenery paintbrush. If you can't tell, it's got all sorts of scenery materials and paint and other crud all over it. Matter of fact, it looks like I cut it off at one time too. It seems to be shorter than it started. So, all right, there we go. So now Sean and I are going to work for a bit. If you have questions, shoot them KJ's way, and he will be happy to feed them to me when we take a little break. But we got to keep rolling here. So this is your behind the scenes part. Will you actually just get to watch me work for a bit? I bet that's exciting. Don't try this in accounting. So, all right, Sean, you ready?
Yep, let's do it.
I just need the garbage can over here because I'm going to make a mess with all this foliage stuff.
Ready?
Yep.
Rolling.
So scenery works best if we work in layers. So I'm going to start actually with just a little bit of this foliage netting. And I'm not going to open it up and tear it right over my layout because I'm trying to protect my water here. So I've got it over the garbage can in the back. And normally, no, let's just do this. It works better to cut it. So I'm going to, it works better to cut it and not drop it in the garbage can. There we go. Let's do that again, Sean. Here we go. Mm-hmm. So the best way to do scenery of this nature is work in layers. We're going to start with this stuff. This is the foliage netting. I've just cut off a little square of it from the package, but we can tease it out here. Hang on a second. Let me do this over the garbage can because it's going to shed like crazy, and I don't want this everywhere. There's the medium green. I'm just going to lay it right over the top of all that static grass we put down. Static grass looks great along the edge here, but as you get farther back into the tree line, then you've got all sorts of other stuff that grows up, and so you don't necessarily get any more. We're going to use just good old scenic cement to glue that down, and it isn't going to take much because we just need to tack it in place while we stick everything else on top of it. And I have lost my pipette. The one I do have is the one for the alcohol. Is there a pipette over there?
The two of them over here. One.
Give me one that's the cloudy one. Yeah, the one in. Oh yeah, that's a cloudy one. That's a. Yeah, this guy's been used for scenic cement. All right. You'll also notice too that when we film, there's a lot of stopping and starting because it's like, oh, where's this? Where's that tool? Sean and I have spent a lot of hours in this workshop already looking for tools on this project, haven't we?
Yeah. Cody's ready.
All right, you ready?
Rolling.
So now I'm just going to use some scenic cement to put a couple of little tacking spots on this. I don't need to go everywhere because of the fact that this is polyfiber, it's all connected anyway. But just enough so that it will lock it down. Okay, that's our starting point. Let me get another one back in here yet because we're going to fill this whole space.
Good.
Okay.
Did we lose Cody?
We got
No.
Cody. So actually, before you go to Cody, I'll ask one quick question of you. They're official now.
Oh, there we go. We got
Michael
the bell.
asked, would you consider using grout for ballast?
Who, Michael Harvey?
Different Michael.
Oh, different Michael.
New,
Okay.
new Michael.
You're Michael. All right, Michael. I've not tried it. My biggest concern about using grout is that once it's installed, it's pretty darn permanent. Whereas if we use the ballast that we're using currently and we put it down with either matte medium or diluted white glue or the Woodland Scenic Cement, I can always come back and wet that and then either lift the track out or things like that. I know that the grout in the tile that I put in my shower in my bathroom at home is pretty permanent. And so if I ever wanted to remove that grout, it's going to be a big project. So I have not tried it. I imagine it probably could work, but I will just caution you to test it before you do a whole layout that way.
And then Artie had one other quick question about
Artie had a question.
the turnout on the bridge you installed. What did you use to control that?
Oh, all the turnouts are controlled with, can we see them from anywhere on the layout here? They're all controlled with the Walthers turnout motors. So I had not done a project where I'd used those yet, and we had a lot of fun installing them. We made a couple of videos on that actually on the site. I think it's a two-parter of getting those installed in
over here.
Oh, yeah, Sean can show them to you over there.
And while she's going in that direction, Brian from Nova Scotia says hello.
Hello, Brian.
He's interested in seeing behind the scenes, so
Oh, well, good.
that's what you get.
You come to the right place.
Okay.
All right, that's it for
See
now.
what Cody's
Catch
up
up with
to.
Cody.
Yep.
1:45 is where we're.
Well, welcome back. We have more new products to talk about. My friend and former colleague Dana Koala from Walthers dropped off some new samples here recently. First up is something really good for the modern era modeler here. We have these solar panels, which are part of the Walthers Scene Master line. So here is the kit. You can see you get the injection molded plastic panel here, and then you get posts and bases. So you can use this kit in a couple of different ways. And I've got a printout here from the sales flyer. You can see that you can use these if you're remodeling like a solar panel farm. We have some of these around southeastern Wisconsin. I just passed one here a few weeks ago up by the Lomira Theresa area. There's a couple farm fields that are just filled with solar panels like this. Or you can use the panels on rooftops of a house as well. So the photovoltaic panels, we'll try saying that again, they're printed on cardstock, and they've got little cut lines here, so you can go in with scissors or a sharp hobby knife and a straight edge and cut those out, and then you can go ahead and attach them to the panels here. But I think this is a really neat little kit, so you get 12 panels in total here. Again, they're injection molded plastic within the cardstock panels here. And you get a nice little sheet of instructions that walk you through. It's a real easy assembly. You could certainly paint the parts ahead of time, or you could paint it once you have it all built up. You want to check the Walthers website for pricing information. So again, solar panels, this is a kit number, let me see here, 949-4196. So head over to walthers.com to check those out. And then we have another fun kit here. This is the plastic pellet plant background building here. So this is priced at $49.98, and Walthers offers a couple of different versions of this here. So we have the background building version here, and you can get an idea on the sales flyer what it looks like all built up. You can see that it's 1 3/8 inches deep, so if you have a real compact space to put an industry on your model railroad, this might be one worth checking out. And we'll flip the sheet over. And if you have more space, you can get the full plastic pellet plant here, and that's priced at $99.98. But you can see it's got the storage tanks and the unloading pipes, and then the main building here and the various details for that as well. So we'll go ahead and I'll open up the box. You can see what the background building kit comes with here. You can see the various injection molded plastic parts. They are all molded in various prototypical colors. So the tanks are in white, Some of the other rooftop details, things like that, are in gray. Building is in a light tan. And then you can see here you got the instructions included with the kit as well. Cool thing about the building, it's got that corrugated metal siding and then the bricks below it, so that's kind of a neat touch there. A couple different textures, and I can see painting that some different colors to add some pop to the building as well. So you can see here actually on the prototype model how it's kind of a light blue gray, and then the bricks are in kind of a dark red color on the full building there. And we'll see how they did it over on this side. You can see it's tan with kind of a more like a cream city type brick for those familiar with the style of brick common around the Milwaukee area here. So again, if you are looking for some industries for your model rig, you want to check out the plastic pellet plant here. You can either go with the partial one here, the background building, or the full kit. And again, you can find those at walthers.com or your favorite Walthers retailer. So with that, we will head back into the workshop and see how things are going on the layout.
Thanks, Cody.
You bet.
Alright, so take the material, take some of that diluted glue we just mixed up, and just brush it right onto the bottom here. Very similar to what we were doing with the foliage netting. I just need a little bit to make sure that it holds itself to the seam. So I'm going to take this and drop it right in on top of everything else I've done so far. Alright, it looks like a jumbled mess, but that's what it's supposed to look like. So, all right, I've got more to fill in here. Let's see how it goes. So what we're doing here is we're using this fine leaf foliage material, which is essentially like little clumps of super tree material covered in ground foam. Just applying some diluted white glue to the back of it so I can glue it down onto the layout. And this is going to be all that stuff that grows up underneath the tree line. Smaller trees, bushes, stuff like that. But it also allows us to fill out our tree line nicely without actually having to do it with individual trees, as you'll see when it all goes together, if we're still broadcasting at that time. Otherwise, you're going to have to check out the video to see how it turns out. So Sean, let's go back and roll on this, please. So I've got my next clump put in place. I'm going to take at least one of the group of foliage here that's got that medium green in it too, and we'll see how that looks. I've got some sitting in here. Boy, this is dangerous. I need to change my work setup here. Any more questions, KJ?
No, I had to restart, so I lost my.
Okay.
A couple of hellos.
So Sean, we're going to come in this spot here. Oh, did you get that?
Not the putting on the.
Okay, that's fine.
All right, rolling.
I'm going to lay this right in between the two and behind the other one. Actually, work it down the bank a little bit. There we go. That looks nice and wild. Now you got to ignore the fact that you can see all the glue for the moment. You won't see that when it's all done. That will all disappear. Okay, another clump right in here, and I think we're good to go.
David, there was another Michael question. Different Michael. A third Michael.
A third Michael. Okay.
He was asking, since you're working on the back side of that, do you ever have to come back around and kind of cite things the way that the operator would see it?
Yes, Michael, definitely. What we're set up for today is to be able to do exactly what you see us doing here with Sean on one side and me on the other. As Sean will attest, when we have to work on the same side at the same time, he's trying to shoot over my shoulder. A lot of times my hand gets in the shot. It gets to be kind of messy. And so today we're working from behind. When we put the backdrop back on, however, obviously we'll have to make adjustments to make sure everything lines up. So, good question though. All right, Sean. Why don't you get a shot of me putting the glue on it? I'll try not to get this all over everything here. So, another light green clump. One thing you want to avoid doing is do a light green and a medium green, a light green and a medium green. You don't want any type of regularity to it at all. Okay, good. Okay. That's the other thing you got to learn to do is you need to learn to wait for your cameraman to follow you. All right, here we go, Sean. And then we just press it right in here. Now, so you can see we've got some of the foliage netting is still showing. We've got some of our light green light leaf foliage, some of the medium green in here as well, and so that has kind of rounded out the hillside. Now, the more I look at it, unfortunately, the more I keep seeing places I need more. So I'm going to put another clump of medium green on this little bald spot back here that you probably can't see from the camera, but I can. So actually, Sean, why don't you come around where Jenny is and just shoot into that spot real quick. I'll get that part prepped for it.
Watch the power cord here. I'm not going to unplug
Watch
it.
it do well.
You're on.
Once you get these sticks, the big sticks show. Okay, that'll work. Ready?
Yep.
All right, on this particular one, more glue on it. And this is that bald spot on the side of the hill we needed to fill. There we go. That is a good start.
Okay.
Okay. Let me get a couple of super trees and we'll fill it in.
Oh, Scott had a good idea. He said, suggested adding an MRNT doodlebug or an RDC for passenger service.
We got that Canadian National RDC that's in the photo studio. We could pull that in. That'd be cool.
Sorry, John.
Oh, Sean, we should have gotten a B-roll shot of the trees still hanging over there too for the intro. When we talked about that, but we can do that later. As long as there's still a few left. All right, the all has disappeared. It's under something here, I'm sure. Unless it's over there. There it is. Got it.
While you're working there, David, one last thing that popped up from Jason. He's asking about conventions and other shows, and asking about 2026 Chattanooga. We're barely ready for Train Fest.
We're not ready for Train Fest. We still are trying to figure out what we're doing at Train Fest. We will be at Train Fest. We're just not sure exactly how much. The fun thing is at Train Fest last year. Oh, there you are.
Sorry.
I'm so used to you standing over there, Jenny. I'm just talking to Ken. The fun thing is at Train Fest last year, we built those couple of T-track modules that's the junction scene to add to our T-track setup. And we never finished them. So guess what's coming back to Train Fest this year? You'll get to see me work more on those as we continue that project. So
Yeah, T-track seems to be popular because a couple folks are suggesting bringing those to national in-scale conventions.
Ooh, there you go. Boy, put a blue line down that and the MRNT logos on it. That'd look pretty keen. Can even keep the red ends.
Yeah, definitely.
All right, right where I'm working too. Thanks.
Yes,
Boy, that's big.
I was gonna
This
say it
layout
looks a
seems
little
big
too
until
big.
you put something like that on it. Then you're like,
Better size.
I'm gonna move that out of my shot here. All right, Sean.
I'll leave it. You can move it. It's fine. Where should you? It's not free.
All right. Ready? Yep.
Rolling.
Now I've got a handful of different sized trees here. I've clipped off some of the stem on these because I don't need all of it, and because of the fact that we're working in foam and largely sculpt mold, I can usually use an awl just to penetrate it and get the tree in there. So I'm going to turn this way. I'd like it to lean over the river and not back towards anything we're going to do. And of course, I took the awl out before I could see where my hole was. That wasn't very good. Now you want to avoid putting too much pressure on these to get them to go in, because you can bend the trunk. And if you do that, then you just got to clip it back farther and keep going. All right, there's one. I've got this nice medium tree here. Despite my best efforts to get my trunks to come out straight, they didn't seem to want to play fair with me there, so stick this guy back in here. Oh, okay, so that only goes that far because there is plywood under that spot. Get some glue on his base, and this time don't take the awl out until I know where the hole is. Oh, I lost the hole again. That's always the interesting thing about doing things on camera, is that you could do it 10 times straight perfectly well. Oh, see, I bent the trunk on that. I gotta fix that. You can do it perfectly straight 10 times well in practice, and then as soon as you roll the camera, it's like, oh, wait. I messed it up. Do it again. Oh, I messed it up. Do it again. Oh, still didn't get it right. Do it again.
Thanks for the outtakes.
Well, yes, we haven't used a lot of outtakes lately.
Jenny has thrown a couple in lately. So.
It's because she's mean. If you ever want to get an accurate assessment of who you are and how you roll, video yourself doing projects. Realize just how unimpressive you really are. Come on, find the hole. There it is. The problem is, I really need to get the drill out. Okay. Sean, were you rolling on that?
No, it's not.
Ah, doggone it.
Because I was talking, so. Blame me.
Jenny's got something, right?
All right, I'll pull it out. Let's do it again. I take it by the fact that the rest of the crew is here, we have come to the conclusion of today's
We're 3 minutes
broadcast.
out. So
3 minutes? Oh, we got time. All right.
Rolling.
I've got a medium grain tree here that I've put a nice hole into the layout for. And I'm going to put that in. Again, you don't want to put too much pressure on them because you definitely don't want to bend those trunks. Once they bend, you gotta, the only recourse for you is to clip off the bent part and then shorten the tree a little bit and keep going. Okay, so I've got two in here because of the fact that I've got the backdrop and I've got trees that go behind this area yet. I need actually something really big here. So let me go find a big tree and we'll park it in that spot. And before I do that, Sean, just turn the camera on. I don't care if it's a dark shot. Just grab the trees on the line since we missed it.
The trees.
Tree line. Get it? Tree line?
Oh, other than the fact that it looks really windy.
It's just they're both leaning.
Don't push it. You break it, you bought it.
No, you have to make a new one. That's a...
No, don't do that.
It's fine.
It's
I do that all
nature.
I do that all the time.
That's right. When we wrap out of here, when you're getting a good point, David, at this next tree maybe, let's do a group shot.
Okay, yeah.
What, the trees or people?
Sure. Both.
No, we don't have a big picture of Bryson we can hold on.
Oh, yeah.
No, we don't need one.
We don't have to read it.
Oh, no Ben today. Bummer.
We can put I'll fix them in post.
All right, Sean, let's do this one.
Roll.
Okay, I've got a really nice big tree I've been saving for something like this. Just, you know what? I'm going to actually have to drill this one. Hold up!
Cut.
Good. That one's drill bit's a little too big.
You need drill bits?
They're over here. Still sitting out from where I left them yesterday. Smaller. This guy right here. All right, roll again. Do this one more time. Rolling. So I have a really nice big tree I've been saving for a good scene, and this is going to be it right here. You'll notice that I can't put the awl in any farther than that because it goes into plywood. So we're going to get out our drill and drill a hole. Now the trick is, with all the glue and everything else going on here and the ground foam and whatnot that we put down, I want as little sawdust as possible. It's not always going to be an easy thing, but going slowly helps. All right, now that I've got that, the next trick is wet your finger. Come in and just grab most of it. Take that off. Either that or we'll just put more ground foam down. That would work too, right? Good enough. It's got termites. All right, let's make sure this will actually fit. And it will. That looks good. And in the tree goes. Any more questions, KJ? Last chance.
You're still rolling, David.
It's all right.
I just didn't know if you knew. Joe Russ says hello.
Hi, Joe.
Jason says, so we should have a blooper reel at the end of each year. So
Ah, actually, that's a good idea.
that'd be a long video.
Yes, there is a lot of unusable footage. All right, how does that look? Is that all right? I'm waiting for it to fall over. Okay, this one's really bugging me.
It's like putting up the Christmas tree.
It is. Sean, reset for a wide shot, please.
We're in bonus coverage now.
Well, we started a little late. Somebody went for a walk and then got caught up watching the Indy race on the TV in the bar.
And now it's a Bird America race.
Yeah, I saw that, but I've already seen that one, so.
I'm not sure.
Yeah.
It's this year's, I think.
Is it?
Yeah.
Because the one before that was Scott Dixon.
I don't pay
That'll
much
stay.
attention to that part.
This week? Coming this week? To Milwaukee?
Oh, wow.
Sean, go ahead, roll.
Local promotion.
Rolling. So I've got a little splotch of glue in a place I didn't want it there, but that's where more of this foliage material comes in handy. Put it right there, and we are done. All right, so 3 trees, a bunch of little ground foam, and finally foliage material. We've got a really nice start to our corner here. I've got a lot more of this to do. Let me do a bit, and then we'll come back and look at how it works. Let's do that one more time, please. Thank you. Here we go. The tree is, I'm gonna have to shim it. The hole's too big. All right. Well, with 3 trees, some fine leaf foliage, and some of that foliage net, we have a nice little populated corner here, and I didn't need to use a whole bunch of trees to do it. Let me work on some more of these hillsides, and then we'll come back and see how it looks. That's how you do that.
And out.
All right. So, are we done for today?
We're done for the
No more questions?
No more questions. Another hello from Randall and a couple other folks said hello. But
Randall, hello, and everybody else too. Thanks for tuning in with us for, what was this again? Midday Modeler. There we go.
Hey, let's do a selfie for the.
Yeah, let's do a
So we can
selfie.
use our screen grab.
See if we
So
can
get the whole crew in, including Ginny. You'll have to turn the camera on then. Or hold your arm out.
Oh, do a selfie in here.
Oh yeah, put it up there. That should work too.
Stand up by itself.
Okay. Or just get a clothespin.
Actually, I just need a shim.
So we're just all gonna smile at the camera
Or
and
use your clothespin and mount it against the.
Yeah,
Not
I'm
take a
gonna
photo.
need clothespin probably right
Are
here.
we still live or are we?
Yes,
We
are
are.
still live.
Yeah, so be careful what you say.
I don't know if this is gonna.
No,
Sounds like a Jim Kelly joke.
definitely not.
So,
All right, we gotta get everybody in here. Let's see, we could
Keep going in.
Keep going in,
Here.
keep going,
Tell
keep
you
going,
what.
keep going.
My
All
arm's longer than
right. All
switch
right.
with me.
Keep going. I get some blue space in the back because we'll put the logo in the back there too.
Is that all right?
Good. All right. Got everybody?
Yeah.
Everybody there? Yeah. Good.
Thank you for
And
watching.
Thanks for watching.
Midday
1, 2,
Modeler.
3.
See you
Bye.
next time.
All right. Next month.
Click the button.
All right.
Okay.
Power out. Power down.
Thanks. Bye, guys.
Are we out? No.
It should be. It gives it a second.